This UFC champion just made history, and not just inside the cage. UFC bantamweight champion Merab Dvalishvili has emerged as the most drug-tested fighter in the UFC roster so far in 2025, having undergone 7 anti-doping tests by the mid-year mark. This highlights not only his activity inside the octagon, but also the level of scrutiny top-tier fighters receive, particularly when holding championship gold. Dvalishvili has had an exceptional year, defending his title twice already. First against Umar Nurmagomedov, and then in a rematch with Sean O'Malley. These performances have extended his already impressive winning streak, positioning him as a serious contender for Fighter of the Year honors. In fact, ESPN MMA named him the male fighter of the mid-year, sharing that distinction with Ilia Topuria, who received an equal number of votes. The Georgian fighter, known as The Machine, has also teased a major announcement on social media after a meeting with UFC executive Hunter Campbell, hinting that a potential fight with Corey Sandhagen may be next. In 2024, Dvalishvili was tested 9 times in total, which was already a high number. Yet by mid-2025, he has already reached 7 tests, which shows an increased level of monitoring, likely due to his rising profile and back-to-back title fights. This reinforces the UFC's ongoing commitment to clean competition, particularly among its champions and most active competitors. Kayla Harrison, one of the UFC's newest breakout stars, has quickly climbed both the rankings and the drug testing charts in 2025. So far, she has been subjected to 5 anti-doping tests, making her the second most tested UFC champion of the year. Her frequent testing underscores how closely the UFC monitors its rapidly rising champions, especially those transitioning from other major promotions. Harrison made headlines when she won the women's bantamweight title at UFC 316, the same event where Merab Dvalishvili defended his title against Sean O'Malley. Her dominant performance at UFC 316 solidified her status as a serious threat in the women's divisions, earning her the title of ESPN MMA's Female Fighter of the Mid-Year. Like what you're hearing? Hit that like button and subscribe to MMA Thread for 3 daily UFC updates that keep you ahead of the game. The attention on Harrison isn't just due to her success. It's also a result of her reputation and past. Before joining the UFC, Harrison was a 2-time Olympic judo gold medalist and a former standout in the PFL, where she remained undefeated for a long stretch. Her transition to the UFC has drawn massive attention, and the increased drug testing is both a sign of her prominence and a reflection of the UFC's efforts to ensure fair play. Being tested 5 times in just the first half of 2025 places Harrison well above most of her peers and shows that her performances and her clean record are being held to the highest standard as she establishes herself in the UFC spotlight. The updated anti-doping statistics for 2025 reveal a clear trend. The UFC and its drug testing program are placing greater emphasis on monitoring high-performing athletes, especially champions and top contenders who are frequently in the spotlight. Fighters like Merab Dvalishvili and Kayla Harrison, who have had strong starts of the year, are among the most tested, with 7 and 5 tests, respectively. This pattern reflects a deliberate strategy. The more active and successful a fighter is, particularly in title bouts or main events, the more scrutiny they attract. The logic is simple. These athletes are setting the standard for excellence in the sport, and the UFC wants to preserve the legitimacy and integrity of their performances through consistent and thorough drug testing. Beyond Dvalishvili and Harrison, other big names like Charles Oliveira, Islam Makhachev, and Khamzat Chimaev have each been tested 4 times, showing that the UFC is not just focusing on champions, but also on elite contenders and pay-per-view headliners. Even Arman Tsarukyan has been tested 6 times, highlighting the level of attention rising stars are beginning to receive as well. These efforts are part of the UFC's broader push to ensure transparency, fairness, and trust in its competition, especially during a year when some have criticized fight cards or ongoing sagas like John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. By focusing on thorough testing, the promotion sends a message. The fighters who compete at the highest levels will be held to the highest standards, both inside and outside the octagon. Stay tuned to MMA Thread, your daily dose of real UFC updates, 3 times a day, every day. Don't miss a single headline. Subscribe now.